the Bible of the electrogenic cell. It's not just the best book ever written on the subject, it's the only book ever written on this subject. Brought to you by supporters of Christ. Peace to the family out there. Wait a minute, let me find myself. All right, so we got a couple of different things to discuss. Right, we got to discuss Victor and the Sebi. I don't know if y'all want to say scam or legacy or however y'all want to phrase it. We got to discuss Diary of a CEO joining the list of people, I guess, trying to steal the drip. We got to discuss the marathon. We got to discuss kitchen chemistry. We got to discuss the teacher's edition. We got a lot to discuss. So, yeah. We got a lot to discuss. So we will be here for a second. So let's go ahead.
They said it couldn't be done. Not with the voltage we carry. Not with these feet. This history. This body. But they forgot. What they never understood was that we are not just bodies. We are current events. And current don't quit. Current runs. We don't just move, we conduct. I did 26.2 miles with my son, not for a medal, not for clout, but because somewhere in this broken, burnt out social media society, somebody needed to see that it's still possible without steroids, without a six-pack, just a regular person frustrated with being mediocre, frustrated with dealing with the day-to-day. Just to prove that pain ain't proof you're dying. Pain is a receipt you still alive. You hear me? My feet were bleeding. His legs was locking up, but we kept going. Not because it was easy, but because we made a covenant. A covenant with breath itself. Every inhale, every time we inspired, that was a signature. Every exhale, a promise. You see, you don't get your power back in the gym. You don't get your electricity back in therapy. You get it.
Hold up. Let's go. Amazon for the win, baby. Ooh. Amazon for the win. Oh my goodness. Amazon for the W. Falling. Amazon for the W. Look what I got here. Ooh. Finally. Because Osborne be flexing. Osborne be flexing on me. I just want y'all to know that. Osborne be flexing on me. Osborne is almost got a special deal with Amazon where I believe Jeff Bezos calls Osborne's cell phone. So Osborne be flexing hard on me with the book. But yes, The blueprint that builds itself. Oh my God, do we got work? Oh my God, we got work. Oh my God, I've been waiting to have certain types of conversations. Oh yes. Come on. Come on. So let me get y'all a close up. I mean, y'all should know what these look like. The blueprint that builds itself. Yeah, you see, this is work right here. This is a thickie, right? But this is a special book. Yeah, this is a special book. You need to have a couple of these. This is one of those. Change the game kind of this. Yeah, this is one of those change the game kind of books. So I have an emotional attachment already to that book. You know what I'm saying? Just going back to some of the elders, you know, that talked about self-creation and how science all but laughed them out of the building. And now, fast forward, science 100% is about self-creation, with the caveat that all of the early forefathers of that philosophy have been left out of the conversation. So very, very proud to be able to author that book with my sons and give that back to the world. Fishers of Men, right? This is one of the books that's going to help you. It's going to help you. Yeah, you. This is one of the books that's going to help you to have the inspirational conversation with your mom, your dad, your homeboy, your homegirl, baby mom, baby daddy, wife, husband, girlfriend, boyfriend, teacher, barber, you know, I don't even know what is the name of the lady who does your hair, right? Hairdo lady, right? But this is one of those. This is one of those. So, that's very interesting. That's very important to the movement. That's very important to the movement. We're going to get right to work in this. We're going to go right to work in this book. We're going to go right to work in this book. I've been waiting for this. Hundreds, thousands of study questions for the codex. Right? So even if you don't want to get your degree, right, be certified, you still want to have these study books because these help you to learn what's in the actual books. These are these are the cheat books. These help you to learn, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months worth of information in a matter of days to a matter of weeks. Just depends on what kind of time you put into the books. So this is the Temple Arch degree, the architect degree. This is the study guide for the codex itself. Let me see what else we got here. Okay. This is the electrician degree, the first degree, right? All of these are the seminary study books here. This is the electrician degree. This is the third degree. This is the second degree of the electrician. So you got first, second, and third degree right here. You got the first degree, second degree, third degree. Right? Then you have the engineer degree and the architect degree. So these are the 5 study guides for the 12 degrees. Right? Yes, I have 2 of these books. I got 2 of these books. And then this is an experimental book. Yeah, this is an experimental book. We went into somewhere else with this. Rich Abs and the 12 Disciples. This is a man's book. Now, I don't mean like not for women, but I'm just saying this is this is a heavy book. It's not that thick, but this is a very heavy book. So this is a book that I would probably put. I should have probably put a warning on the back of this book. Right? Don't try this at home. Even though I do want you to try this at home. But yeah, this book should have came with a warning. Like, listen. Do not get high and read this book. Don't get high and read this book. This is not one of them. Here's what the back of the book says. Let me read you the back of the book. The back of the book says around 12 frames per second. This is the minimum threshold for apparent motion to occur. Below 12, you see flickers, fragmentation, ghosts. At 12, the veil collapses. At 13, life begins. From Da Vinci's frescoes to the pages of the scripture, the image of Jesus and the 12 disciples has become one of the most universally recognized sacred arrangements in human history. But what if this arrangement isn't just theological? What if it's neurological? What if Jesus isn't only the Son of God, but the 13th frame, the first moment that still images become motion? What if the 12 disciples aren't just followers, but 12 visual gates, the exact number of distinct frames your brain must process per second for the world to appear alive? What if what we call salvation is actually the collapse of stillness into coherence? Yeah, this one right here, this book right here, Rich Abs and the 12 Disciples. This is not. Yeah, this book is not for everybody. So if this is your first video of seeing Dr. Inky, right, and you've never read a Dr. Inky book before, and you go on Amazon and you realize there's over 100, 120 Dr. Inky books, I can't exactly tell you which one would be the. I mean, I can make some suggestions on where you should start, but I can tell you for a fact, do not start with this one. Do not start with this one. I could tell you that for a fact. Do not start with this one. This is not the one to begin with. This is not for beginners. Yeah, this book is not for beginners. This is one of those books. I'm not even sure if or when we will discuss this on YouTube. We've already discussed some bits and pieces from this, but yeah, I'm not even sure. This might have to sit for a bit. Yeah, this might have to sit for a bit. Man, Amazon went crazy just now with the drop. Ooh, hey, yo, they came with the degree work. They came with the degree work. That's epic right there. They came with the degree work. I know y'all like, wait a minute. How is it 12 degrees, but we only see 5 books? You gotta get the books. Right? You gotta get the books. Yo. I got 2 copies of Fishers of Men books. And then I got the blueprint that builds itself. I'm extremely proud of this book. Yeah. We took our anatomy to the next level in this book. Yeah, we took our anatomy to the next level. So we will probably be jumping in this book sooner than later. Right? We introduce our 7 systems. We introduce our 7 systems. Oh, that is love right there. That is love right there. Let's go to the homie. Man, definitely appreciate that. Definitely appreciate that. Yeah, I definitely want to shout out Smacknificent Beats and Rashawn for the super chats, the super chats, right? Man, Amazon stole the show. I forgot what I wanted to talk about today. Yo, I forgot what I wanted to know. I did. I got it written down. But I had stuff in my mind, and then I forgot what I had in my mind when, the Amazon book. So that was love right there. Stop the marathon video. Yo, I told y'all, listen, we did the video before with Jack Cruz, Rick Rubin, Andrew Huberman, busted, stealing the drip, right? So we got another video with Diary of a CEO, right? They got some kind of racist, and it's funny because I don't know if Hotep Jesus me and him be having some weird energy, like not weird in a bad way, just like I don't know, it's powerful. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just we be having some, be some weird, some spooky moments. That's a better term. Because we had this discussion about why am I saying Candace Thomas? Candace Owens? Why am I forgetting her name? But Nick Fuentes made some racial statements, and that kind of opened up a door to a conversation. This is on last week's episode of Comedicine. And right after that, I started getting mad people hit me up and they like, yo, homeboy from MedCram is stealing the drip. Not only is he attempting to steal the drip, but he sounded like Nick Fuentes out here. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, hold up. The host of Diary of a CEO platform is a black guy. Like, is that what he's doing over there? Like, that's so that's crazy. Got to talk about Victor and Dr. Sebi and the whole unfortunate situation. Yeah, we got to talk about that. The marathon, the kitchen chemistry book that's coming. I know I've been saying for the last maybe month or so that I got to work on the kitchen chemistry book part 2, and it's shaping up. It's shaping up. I wanted it to be out like last week. But I got some stuff I'm going through in my personal life. It's crazy. The more positive you try to do, remember that the world is about magnetism. So the more positive your life is, the more negative you'll attract. The more negative your life is, the more positive you'll attract. It's just what you set your mind to and focus on, right? So I'm trying to work through the storm, so to speak. Like kinetic science teaches us that man was made out of clay. The Bible teaches us the same thing, and I guess what's up for us to figure out is the way you turn something into a piece of art from clay is it has to be put in the oven. It has to be put in the oven, right? It has to be put in the oven. And when heat comes, either you're going to fall apart or you're going to, you're going to become, you're going to become inspiration. So we're working on the kitchen chemistry book. So that's another part of the conversation. But the first thing I want to discuss is this pile of books that I just got. This pile of books that I just received, right? Folks are asking me, like, we need another physical school, right? We need another physical school, right? We need you to come in, Texas, Cali. We need you to come down and start doing the lectures again. Like, yo, we that would take us to the next level. And what I'm saying is, listen, I got my jogging jacket on. I came right in and went to the live because I got so much going on that if I didn't come just straight into the live, I probably would have not did a live today. You know what I'm saying? And I have to get, I have to see you guys. I have to fellowship with you guys. I have to workshop with you guys. I have to pass the hat around. Right. But so I came right in. I came right in off of 4 miles. Yeah, 0 games played. I came right in off of 4 miles. Jump right on the camera. Right? Jump right on the camera. Turn the Amazon box. Oh my God. So here's what I'm saying about the school. Here's what I'm saying about shout out to Bayat. I'm not sure if Bayat is watching the live yet or not, if he tuned in or not. I'm sure he'll see it on the playback or tune in later, but he's working on his book, right? And so this go round, right, it's not about me per se, right? So if we're going to do the lectures, if we're going to build it up, it has to be something permanent, right? That's why we have the degrees and the certifications. So that way I can help you build up wherever you are, right? I can help you build up your study group wherever you are. And then from there, once you got 20, 30, 40, 50 people, now we can put together, a lecture series, and I'll come in, what I'm saying? I'll come into the city or whatever, and we'll do it big that way. You know what I'm saying? And then from there, obviously, if we can build up a place, wherever it is, right? Detroit, Charlotte, I don't know, Dallas, anywhere, you know what I'm saying? Wherever it is, it could be in the middle of the country somewhere, you know what I'm saying? Wherever it is, if we can build up and get a momentum there, then we can work on a school there. Then we can work on a school there at any level. I'm interested, honestly, if I was to go back into teaching children, I would want to teach older children this time, right? And nothing against the little ones. I love the little ones. Wouldn't mind teaching the little ones, but if I had my preference, I would like to teach young adults and maybe college students, only because I had elementary and middle school students already. You know what I'm saying? So it's nothing more than just, and that's where my children are now, right? My youngest are 10 now. You know what I'm saying? By the time Trump is out of office, my youngest will be 14, right? If I don't, if I don't meet somebody and make some new ones, you know what I'm saying? Just say, I might start working on a new 5, right? But yeah, my smallest ones are 10. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if I could, work with older children or young adults, that'd be dope. All right. But that depends on you guys, right? Like how busy we getting with the studies, certifications, degrees, like so we can have some hierarchy, some organization, a certain level of proficiency and competence with certain basics of, like, yeah, and we can do it. And we can do it. It's not just the, let me say this. It's not just the Fishers of Men books that have the training discussions in them, right? The degree books as well. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. So the engineer degree. Okay. No, that's. Yeah, the electrician third degree is crazy. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, the electrician third degree is where you really begin in the degree work anyway, where the conversations begin, right? So those training conversations are abundant, right? So we'll get folks fluent. We'll do a bunch more, like we kind of debuted it with the barbershop clip the other day, but I didn't really break it down. I didn't really break it down into like, so we got a bunch of those though. But yeah, that's that. So we just need folks, to get, you know, to get to studying, right? Get studying, and we get on that. Oh, um, guess maybe the next thing we should move to is it's kind of a sad subject. It's kind of a sad subject. And I don't want to troll. I don't want to troll Victor, right? Even though Victor was trolling me for a while, Victor was a Victor's a victim. I'm talking about Dr. Sebi's son. Victor is a victim. Victor is a victim. And it's crazy because he had people around. So when Victor first comes up to the States and Victor first comes on the scene, as everybody else, I give him, like, I ain't gonna say the big homie treatment because that could be taken the wrong way. But just as an elder statesman, a mentor, and try to give him the guidance that I knew he was going to need. Listen to what I'm telling you. I tried to give Victor the guidance that I knew he was going to need. And it's ugly. It's ugly. He's in a very ugly situation. I'm praying that it all works out for him. I'm praying it works out for him, but he's in an ugly situation. Maybe I should show y'all this video clip in case y'all haven't seen the video clip. Video clip is circulating. No. Victor is not a victor. He's definitely a victim. Listen, I'm not even going to pull up the clips of me and Victor's conversations where he was saying the craziest things on earth. Going against his father, talking about alkaline is not healthy. And he was just saying the craziest things on earth. And so I knew that it was the people around him that was, they saw him as a young man with a lot of earning potential that wasn't intelligent. His ego could not allow himself to see how people around him saw him. Right? I want you to understand. I want you to just grasp that for a second. Victor could not see that the sharks were swimming around him. And so he let people around him tell him, like, stay away from me. The guy with all the free advice. You know what I'm saying? The guy with the free advice that don't want nothing from you. Right? Stay away from him. Right? Come on over here. Let us use your face, your likeness, your daddy's name. Let us make some bread off you, and then let us feed you to the wolves. Let us make some bread off you, youngin, and then feed you to the wolves. Right? We don't have nothing to teach you. We just got you see, that's what I was trying to put him under the wing so I could give him guidance. Because that's what we need. At 18, 19, 20, we need guidance. You know what I'm saying? We need folks that's going to block for us. You know what I'm saying? So we could run a touchdown. We don't need folks that's You know what I mean? Like it's just so to watch him, surround himself with these people. And it's funny because his dad had the same issue. You know, before his dad passed, he wound up doing a series of videos, almost crying out for help, asking folks, like, listen, this person, that person, this person, they're saying that they're with me, but they're not with me. They're stealing from me. They're robbing me. They're trying to get me locked up. Like all of these different things. And then eventually he winds up getting locked up, money stolen, and transitioning in prison. You know what I'm saying? Like quietly, right? And it was kind of scary because it was the people he was warning us against that were the only people that could have gotten him help while he was in prison, and they didn't. They didn't let anybody know what was going on with him until it was too late, right? So, it'd be easy to take this moment and like, you know, but I'm just going to wish him the best. I'm just going to wish him the best. Who knows? Maybe he might, maybe he might call me up after what he got going on right now. He might call me up and be like, yo, help. And I don't know how to help him out of his current situation, but I do know how to help him navigate, you know, navigate what this is that he's trying to do. Okay, hold on. Let me get my phone.
It back when you remember who the hell you are. When you outrun the lies they put in your bloodstream. When you outshine the fatigue and code it into your culture. This ain't exercise. This is exorcism. We running devils out the body. We setting fire to stagnation. We're releasing trauma passed down in silence. Sweat is sacred. The soreness is a scripture in and of itself. And the mile markers are just chapters in your life. Mile 1. Why am I doing this? Mile 9. Can I really keep going? Mile 17. My legs are gone. Mile 22. My soul stepped in. Mile 26. I am electric. So hear me now. If you woke up today doubting your own worth, run. If you feel like you've been stagnant too long, run. If you forgot that your body is a temple, run. Because every step teaches the blood how to believe again. Because when your current flows, when your current runs, the story changes. Because you were never supposed to be still. Finish lines don't make you worthy. What make you worthy is the run itself. Because that's where the resurrection lives. So lace up, breathe deep, and run this covenant like it's the final sermon before heaven opens. We out here. Stay current. Run the circuit. Conduct the impossible. Left Hand of God, bro. These Fishers of Men books, book 1, book 2 in the Teacher's Edition. This is how we inspire the world to inspiration, mind by mind. Go to Amazon now. I'm telling you, this book is blowing up.
violating us quick, boy.
All right, and he's saying he didn't spend it. So he's saying he didn't spend the money. So
Okay, hold on. Let me get this video over here. Let me get this video onto the onto my computer where I can share it. Cause I see y'all saying, I guess y'all don't know what's going on.
Victor throwing you under the bus, bro. They be talking mad shit about you. They be talking all kind of crazy shit, and I know you loyal to Victor, but he be throwing you under the fucking bus, bro. Like
the first time money was ever off, I told you when you came, I said,
but that was like the month before. Last month, that shit was like 8,000. That shit was like 8,000. You know what I'm saying? All right, and he's saying he didn't spend it, so he's saying he didn't spend the money. So, all right, so look, today, to save everybody, right? You shut this store down, so when the state come in here, they can't say nothing. The basement look crazy and shit down there. Like, they gonna go in the basement, they gonna inspect it, and it's gonna be fines. So, the African Biomineral, you know who owned that name, right?
Yeah.
All right, so that's in her name. So, yeah. So yeah, it's not gonna be. I don't want her to get caught up in none of this shit. But I can call the police, right?
Yeah.
You signed in the register, right?
Yeah.
All the bread comes up missing under your name. You know what I'm saying? It's coming up.
If they have to take me to court for stealing, then I can prove my innocence.
I'm just saying to you.
I can show the receipts for thousands that Victor said.
I asked for receipts. I asked for receipts.
No, a lot of stuff was bought cash. Okay.
That's what the cash is missing. That's what I'm saying. It's only cash.
No. Some stuff he spent on Cash App, and I could send, this is what I sent. Not all of it. Maybe half. He spent a lot of
Listen, bro, 8,000, right? Last year in Jersey was 30,000 cash missing.
She never said that.
She didn't have to. I'm just telling you. So in 1 month, if 8,000 go missing, what's gonna happen the next month? You know what I mean? So
Victor's lying. Victor's lying. Okay.
Victor's throwing y'all under the bus, bro. He wanted to come out here himself.
I fully understand.
Everything that say African Biomineral in here, because I know y'all can come back in here. It's a cease and desist for everything that say African Biomineral. So
you're not letting us do nothing with, like, he's on the lease and we can't sell Bolingo.
I can sell Bolingo.
Bolingo.
I am. I'm putting y'all out because the state about to come here. They want to come here. They want to come here and shut the store down anyway. So nobody's gonna have a job because Victor opened this shit illegally.
I called Victor about this today.
Okay.
So listen, I don't know what's going on over there. I stay in my lane. I got the babies. But I wish Victor the best. I don't know what's going on. Oh, like I said, I don't know what's going on over there. But to me, right? I watched Victor move away from Sebi's teachings and start misrepresenting the brand and start saying the craziest stuff on earth, right? Hold on. I'm a father though, right? Listen to what I'm saying. I want y'all to get this. I'm a father though. If something should happen to me, I want my children to carry the torch, but I also want them to be able to make mistakes and, like say the craziest thing, like come into their own space, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Maybe not make me look so crazy, but You know what I'm saying? Like that's his son. You know what I'm saying? He gets to make some mistakes. Um, but it's I just knew what he was walking in. I just knew he was walking into the hornet's nest because he got people putting him in a situation where he need permission to sell Sebi products. Oh my God. Listen, if only he would have listened to the doc. How you got folks telling you when, where, how, sit, stand, move left, move right, how sway. Crazy. Now some stuff was going wrong and they going, hey, Victor did it. I can only wish the young man, like I said, I can only wish him the best at this point. You know, I can only wish him the best at this point. So there's that. There's that. You know what I'm saying? I gotta wrestle with, the other guy that, is Polite's silent partner out here running around attempting to steal the bitters. Attempting to steal the bitters formula. He has respectfully, he has a better marketing campaign. He done stole the bitters formula, but he has a better marketing campaign. So, that seems to be the thing. Like these guys, like, yo, Inky ain't gonna get on these big platforms. So yeah, we can steal Inky's, we can steal Inky's, and we could just get more promo real quick. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I've got to worry about that. Right. Then at the same time as I have to worry about the savages, the niggers, hard ER, right? I got to worry about the savages, the niggers stealing. I also got to go upstairs, right? I also got to go upstairs and I have to worry about, uh-oh. Look at those numbers. Yo, HJ is a digital giant. HJ is a giant, bro. He is performance enhancing drugs on the internet. Greg Doucette, listen, if Greg Doucette look at my channel right now, if he was to see my StreamYard, he would say, Dr. Inky is not natty. Greg Doucette does natty or not natty. He would look right now and go, Dr. Inky is not natty. Right now, he's taking trend. That's what HJ is. HJ is trend with a D. TREND. Yeah, my channel is on trend right now. Shout out to HJ tapping me in with the I don't know, maybe the repost or something. But I can tell because we got 600 people watching the live stream right now. So that means, yeah, that means HJ then hit the. But yeah, I mean, I also got to worry about this. Let me show y'all this. Let's take a look at this. Will you look at this? Will you look at this? Let me see. Let me find this piece here. Where is it? Okay, let's start right in here. Okay, let's start right here. Ooh.
Almost never asked about.
This book, the Bible, which is my tradition. Evidence for science in the Bible.
What do you mean?
What we've been talking about is the body and the health in the body. I'd like to put to the test some of the statements in the Bible to see if they work scientifically.
Like turning water into wine?
No, well, potentially. That's a miracle. What I was referring to is this, and this is what I've actually done, and it's actually quite interesting. Is Paul, who is one of the New Testament writers in the Bible, wrote to the Corinthians. Don't you understand that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit? I said that's a really interesting statement.
Hey, listen, it's not just Black YouTube that watches Dr. Inky, you know. Y'all have to understand this. Listen, it's not just Black YouTube. Y'all have to understand how powerful what we're doing with inspiration is. What we're doing with inspiration is once in a lifetime. So of course, people are gonna wanna grab. They're gonna wanna grab. Right? This is Diary of a CEO. Doesn't get any bigger as a platform. In case you don't know who that guy is, his page is called MedCram. Right? He's a vitamin D maniac. I know exactly when he started watching my page during COVID. Right? During COVID. Because there was only a handful of people having a certain type of conversation. And everybody was looking frantically to find information. And so, anyway.
How would he come to that conclusion? Like, what does that mean, the temple of the Holy Spirit? So the only temple at that time was the temple in Jerusalem where they would have the sacrifices and things. So what I did was I went back, and this is answering the question, is I'm looking for evidence of scientific truth, probably unknowingly, by some of the writers in the Bible to see whether or not there is truth. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So if you look, and most of Exodus 25 through 30 is this painstakingly detailed description of the sanctuary that Moses built in the wilderness that he supposedly got from God. This is what he says. So here's a great way to see whether or not this all fleshes out. Moses is saying, here's the description of the pattern that I got for the temple. And Paul is saying, your body is a temple. So here's my hypothesis. If we look at the pattern in the temple, should it match the human body that they had no understanding of at the time that Paul wrote this? Like, we didn't know about cells until Van Leeuwenhoek in the 1600s. We didn't know about the circulation of the heart until the 1600s with William Harvey.
Now, right there, listen, this is what I'm telling you. Let me demonstrate to y'all how much I have evolved as a person, right? I'm a shout out Unk, formerly of the Amin Ra squad that I disbanded single-handedly, you know. But shout out to him because he had a line. He had a line that he used to say all the time. And I can't quite remember it, but it was something to the effect of a well-dressed lie beats the truth. Something to that effect. But just how basically how a lie can make its rounds around the world way faster than the truth. Like a lie will be done went around the world twice before the truth get its shoes on. You know what I'm saying? And this why I say the energy be spooky over there with me and HJ. Because he just bring up this whole Candace and Nick Fuentes conversation with Nick Fuentes is basically saying, you know, Africans were idiots and they haven't contributed anything to the world like writing or wheels or, you know, anything like that. You know what I'm saying? And so Candace, you know, she interjects like, hey, you do know that Egypt is like in Africa, right? And he's like, no, but they're not really Africans. You know, that he changes the first he's going, and the crazy thing is first he's going geographical Africans, right? Then she points out that Egypt is in Africa. And he goes, well, they're not ethnic Africans. So now he has to change it, right? And so we had that whole conversation, right? But it's crazy how, like, literally that conversation opened the floodgates to this conversation, because the very next day I started getting people hitting me up like, yo, bro, you know, homeboy is like, I mean, he's super stealing the drip. Like and they're gonna get 1 million views or whatever they, you know, they that when God opened the door for you, no man can close the door God opened for you. That's one of the reasons why we have books. Everything is stamped and dated. right Everything is stamped and dated, right? It's these are more just moments for you at home. These are moments for you. These are not moments for me. I want y'all to first understand that these are not moments for me. These are moments for you. When the doctor told me my daughter would never walk again, and that's at the second hospital where, you know, the first hospital said she was going to die that night. The first hospital said she was not going to make it through the night. I had to raise hell in that hospital to get transferred to another hospital. And her mama and her family and them, they start arguing with me there. I'm like, are y'all insane? They just said that she's not going to make it through the night in here. So why would we stay here? And like, oh, well, if you transfer her, she could, you know, she could become less stable during the, y'all just told me she going to die in here. So what? I'm from the block. We'll put our life on the dice. You know what I'm saying? Like, put a quick prayer on them. Put a quick prayer on it. Yeah, I'm getting ready to go with God. So that situation, I mean, I had situations before that's just would make the hair on the back of your neck stand up. But that situation, so nothing can example for me. But these are examples for you at home when you see, when you get to see in real time, like, yo, that's crazy. No, this is exactly what Inky said they do. They fish on the smaller channels and then they go to the larger platform and then boom, they try to drop the whole, you know, all the spiel. And then they try to, like, you know, frame it in a way, oh, you know, my background is this, so, you know, I've been pondering. Let me slap you. Right? So, yes, we got somebody else with their hand in the cookie jar. But that wasn't even the biggest thing for me, because again, there's always somebody with their hand in the cookie jar. We do a lot of researching. We do a lot of studying. You know what I'm saying? We do a lot of research, a lot of studying. It's always going to be somebody's hand in the cookie jar, whether it's, you know, somebody from Black YouTube, you know what I'm saying, running around looking goofy, or whether it's somebody that most people would think is too big because of their degrees, because of their resume, or because of their platform size to pay attention to what I got going on. So that's not what made me say, you know what? We got to run the clip. What made me say we got to run the clip is HJ. Because we had that conversation about Nick Fuentes, when he says this, and I'm going to rewind it again so y'all can hear it. That's when I said, no, this is important. I got to run this back so that the people can understand what we're doing right now is bigger than us. We have to represent for our ancestors. We have to represent for our ancestors, and we have to represent for them, for our children. We got to represent for our ancestors so that our children can see us. Our children's children's children. When we're all dead and gone, whatever set of children those are, 3, 4, 5 generations down, those children have to look back at us. And when they look back at us, we have to show them the ones that came before, way before. Because otherwise, they're going to be Thanos out of existence. Let's rewind this so you can see what I'm talking about.
Your body is a temple. So here's my hypothesis. If we look at the pattern in the temple.
Here's my hypothesis. That's not your hypothesis. That's my hypothesis. My bad.
Should it match the human body that they had no understanding of at the time that Paul wrote this? Like, we didn't know about cells until Van Leeuwenhoek in the 1600s. At the time that Paul wrote this, like, we didn't know about cells until Van Leeuwenhoek in the 1600s. At the time that Paul wrote this, like, we didn't know about cells until Van Leeuwenhoek in the 1600s. We didn't know about the circulation of the heart until the 1600s with know about the circulation of the heart until the 1600s. We didn't know about the circulation of the heart until the 1600s.
Do you see what I'm saying? This is why you have to have all of the books. You have to have all these books. You have to have the entire Kemetic Naturopathy series. You got to have them all. You got to have the trigonometry. You got to have, I mean, listen, you have to have all of the books. You have to have them all, because otherwise these lies, they're very persistent with these lies. They're very persistent. Whether you have Nick Fuentes saying, and HJ couldn't understand, he couldn't understand my perspective the other night. You know what I'm saying? We kind of just agreed to disagree. But he was like, Inky, I wouldn't let you debate Nick Fuentes talking about no foolishness like this. I'm like, no. This is no. I would definitely debate Nick Fuentes on this subject. Now, there's a bunch of subjects that Nick Fuentes will probably run circles around me. I don't claim to know what I don't know, right? There's a mechanic in your neighborhood that smokes like 2 packs, maybe 3 packs of cigarettes a day, drinks 50-cent beers. I don't look at people in the way most people do. I'm sure that man, he probably cannot read a full book. But if me and that mechanic that drink 50-cent beers, he might even snort a little cocaine on the side or something. If me and him was to have a debate about cars, he would run circles around me. I don't know cars like that. He do. So I never claim to be like a jack of all trades. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? But with my thing, I'm the big joker. When it comes to my thing, I'm the big joker. Yeah, when it comes to my little space, my little crevice, my little crevice in the world, oh yeah, I'm the big joker. So I would definitely debate Nick Fuentes. I would debate Medcram man here. Oh, we didn't know anything about circulation until the 1600s. We didn't know what a cell was until the 1600s. And when you have these guys like this going on to these million-person platforms, you know, and he's a very well-established and well-known doctor, and, you know, all these credentials flying around, and he's saying it in such an incredulous manner, you know, like he's speaking from the heart, and his mannerisms and everything, it really comes off like it's genuine. People listen to that, they're gonna really like, oh yeah, wow, yeah, wow, that's amazing, yeah, that's wow, that's crazy, because man, yeah, we didn't know anything about the heart or blood or circulation until the 1600s. We had no idea what a cell was until the 1600s. So I mean, wow, this is amazing. And the host of Diary of a CEO is a black guy. Black guy, right? So it's racism, right? It's absolutely racism, but it's not racism in the way you would think. This is the institutionalized racism that I'm trying to say. Our fight is not really with people per se. It's more with the vestiges of the books, the papers that come from the time when the world was as racist as it could be. We still live in that world under that weight, right? So we can say our world is not, right? You go to a party, a club, a restaurant, black folks, white folks, Spanish, whatever, everybody's in there together, right? Any job you go to, it's, you know, some places might even be more blacks or more Spanishes or more Arabic, or, you know, like it's, but the institutions, right? The universities, right? The universities. It was funny to hear Giggs and Nori have a conversation about college and universities. That was funny. But universities, you know, these old establishments that have the, you know, the academic swagger, because when you see these names, Oxford, Stanford, Harvard, you know, when you see certain names, it's like, oh yeah, that's that what that said right there. Okay, yeah, that's what it is. Because that's, I mean, that's, yeah, that's that's the facts, because Oxford says, and you don't realize how you been. This is the reason. It's not just because, you know, diabetes is wiping us off the face of the planet, right? Stopping us from living, stopping us from reproducing, like stopping us from enjoying our lives while we have them. Like, it's not just because the diabetes, the high blood pressure, it's not just because the black person starter kit, right? Diabetes, high blood pressure, bad kidney, you know, like the black person starter kit. It's not just because of that, right? It's because we still have to deal with this. We still have to deal with this. This isn't going anywhere. And we're learning, but you at home have to begin teaching. This is why now we take it into a level where we have our own degrees, right? We have our own degrees, so you can get certified, and then we can start building up your city, your town, your school, wherever you are. We need to build your study group, 5 people, 10 people, 20 people. Start coming in. I'll start coming in doing lectures in your city. You know what I'm saying? Building it up. We have to do this because nobody is going to do it for us. Nobody's going to do it for us. It's just going to be more of this. There's going to be more of Nick Fuentes educating his people, You know, when I say his people, I mean the people that listen to him in digital on in his digital real estate. Black people never did. Woo, woo, woo. Africans never contributed to the world, and blah 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 blah. Oh, Egypt. Wait. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, Egypt is Africa, but not ethnic Africans. Like, wait, what? Huh? How do they get away with that? And if it's just Nick, some people would say, oh, he's just a podcast. You know, he's a politics pundit. He's not. Nobody's taking that serious. Well, when you hear your doctors start to echo those things, right? When you hear your doctors start to echo those things, at that point it's too late, because these people are making judgments on your life based on this science. And so when you go, wait, but it doesn't really matter though, because at today we all can get the same, and you go, well, what do the statistics say? The statistics say that the darker my skin is, the higher at risk I am for diabetes. The darker my skin, the higher I'm at risk for high blood pressure, kidney, heart failure, Alzheimer's. I mean, you go through the list. So 2 + 2 is 4. There's an absolute, undeniable correlation to the covering up of the roots of medical information, medical applications of this information, and how it's impacting our health today. Right? So this was what was more important to me when I seen the clip. I'm like, okay, yeah. Another guy caught hand in the cookie jar. But that him getting busted with his hand in the cookie jar is not as important as his follow-up statements that we didn't know about cells or blood or the heart circulating blood until the 1600s. Bruh. Listen, he's a doctor. Listen to what I'm saying. As a doctor, when he's studying the history of his profession, he knows what's in the papyri. They have these conversations. And even the most ignorant, even the most racist institutions still have to mention that the first descriptions of the heart and blood circulation was in Kemet, was in ancient Egypt. Even if they do ancient Egypt and they don't do Kemet, right? They'll go with the fictional, the Greek. Oh, it was ancient Egypt. See, that's a way of ascribing it to the Greeks and cutting you out again when they say ancient Egypt, because ancient Egypt was an invention of the Greeks, right? There's really no ancient Egypt. It's Kemet, right? Anything before Alexander is Kemet. Post Alexander, you have Egypt, right? Alexandria, right? Library of Alexandria, right? That's all post Kemet. That's post Kemet, right? That's the whole operation at knife point of translating the Kemetic information into the Greek, where the Rosetta Stone come into play and all that kind of stuff. So that's what's most important. That's what's the scary, shocking, crazy, and Diary of a CEO. How do you want to slice it? Because I know that the doctor knows better. I know MedCram knows better. How do we want to slice it with Diary of a CEO? Are we going to say he's ignorant? Are we going to go, he's ignorant? So he needs education. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. He's ignorant, right? I don't know that much about him. Right? I don't know if he went to college, university. I don't know if he has degrees. I wouldn't assume he does just because he has an accent. Just because he has a British accent doesn't mean he's incredibly sharp. He might not be the sharpest tool in the shed. So I'm not going to make any assumptions based on his accent, right? But I mean, obviously, he let that go on his platform. At least Candace checked Nick immediately. She was like, no. And this is Candace we talking about. She checked Nick Fuentes. Diary of a CEO. He just let that go. He just let that happen.
With we didn't know about the circulation of, we didn't know about cells until Van Leeuwenhoek in the 1600s. We didn't know about the circulation of the heart until the 1600s with William Harvey. Until the 1600s, we didn't know about the. Paul wrote this. Like, we didn't know about cells until Van Leeuwenhoek in the 1600s. We didn't know about the circulation of the heart until the 1600s with William Harvey. Okay. Yet, if you look in the human body, you have the blood system. You have blood circulating around in the vascular system, and then it goes into the inner.
Ignorant and trifling. Well, I'm gonna say this. I'm not gonna add trifling to it. I'm gonna just roll with ignorant, because ignorant leaves the door open for him to get some education. Right? Ignorant leaves the door open for him to get some education. You know what I'm saying? But trifling, that's willfully ignorant. I don't know if he's willfully ignorant. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he's willfully ignorant. I know he's getting a bag for his show, you know, because he does a lot of promos on it. So I know he's getting a bag for his show. So he could have, in his mind, been sitting there thinking, now, why is he trying to pull a colonizer move on my platform? But he already had a long show, and maybe he didn't want to muddy up the show at the end, so he just kind of let it fly into the wrap up. So yeah, we had a great show this week. Tune in next week when he might. I don't know. I do know that he did not offer correction. I do know that he didn't offer correction. I do know that he didn't. You know, he didn't stand up. I know he didn't stand up. So maybe he doesn't know. Maybe he did know, and you know. He's paid, you know, I don't know what, you know, I don't know what the deal is, but I do know that that's institutionalized racism, right? I do know that's an example of what's being taught, and it's not like as we move forward, it's getting better. It's getting more egregious. It's getting crazier. Right? That's why I'm saying artificial intelligence is not what people think. Right? Artificial intelligence is not what people think. Artificial intelligence can be an amazing tool, especially if you realize that the information here on this planet is, you know, like a gift. You know what I'm saying? From everybody who's lived before us. You know what I'm saying? If we really dig deep into that bag, and we understand that energy is information. Information is energy. And information can't be created or destroyed, only transformed. I mean, energy can't be created or destroyed, information, which is energy, can't be created or destroyed, just transformed. Right? If we understand just that bit, it's so powerful then when we see misinformation. Because the truth, right? Information can't be created or destroyed. It can only be transformed, right? So the fact that 3,000 years ago, we already knew about the blood, the circulation, cells, and all that, that's information. That information cannot be recreated or destroyed, just transformed. So now we can use these platforms And these platforms, especially AI is plugged directly into encyclopedias, plugged directly into these, academic sources. So it's going to reinforce these crazy narratives unless enlightened, inspired minds go out and do the work. Enlightened, inspired minds have to go out and do the work, right? Enlightened, inspired minds have to go out and do the work. And that's why we did our little digital marathon, right? First year, you know, just me and Chase, we just went out there and we just did our thing. However long it took us to do it, we was going to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was determined to try to just do something substantial. Chase was like, nah, we got to do the whole 20s. So, we did 26.2. You know what I'm saying? Like, we did the whole, but because we are in a digital universe now, we don't have to all be together to do a marathon, right? Everybody has a Fitbit. Everybody has an Apple Watch. Everybody has, a phone with apps on it, right? So what that means is everybody can do what I did, which is the reason why I did it simple, the way I did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could have tried to make it more of a production. I could have tried to get like one of my homeboys to like, yo, pull up on me with the truck. You know what I'm saying? So you could catch us. Like, I could have tried to set up my drone to catch some footage of us like on the side of the street walking or whatever. But no, it's about replication. You know what I'm saying? And anybody can have their little device, right? Keeping track of the distance and, boom, tap in, record your time, post. Okay, yeah, look, it's X amount of time, X amount of hours. Look, I'm 2 miles in, boop, on the check-in. Here I go, 4 miles in on the check-in. We 7 miles in on the check-in. And do your marathon wherever you at. You can do it by yourself. Put your headphones on, wake up early in the morning, and push it to the limit. Get your butt out there and go. Right? So, inspiration. You know what I'm saying? Now, by next year, we're going to be trying to go faster. Right? Which brings me to another conversation. Y'all better not let me get another 6-pack on y'all. The people who just start watching, y'all good. Y'all good. But some folks been watching for years, and y'all don't watch me go through my personal ups and downs. Y'all don't watch me go from looking like skinny in the face to looking chubby in the face, to looking skinny in the face, chubby in the face, skinny in the face, and chubby in the face, and you still just chubby in the face. You should not be watching me go from a 6-pack to obese to 6-pack to obese to 6-pack to obese, and you still just obese at home. Right? Yeah, you need you. So don't let me go from a broken leg, because I'm not gonna let you live it down. Don't let me go from a broken leg in January, put on almost 30 pounds of pregnancy fat. Like, that was pregnancy fat. Just that was just sitting around, just eating a whole bunch of, you ain't got no business eating, but like, just depressed, can't move around, like just stressing, everything, right? Don't let me get back in shape for you get in shape the first time. How you gonna let me get in shape, out of shape, 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 back in shape again, and you still out of shape? And we supposed to be family. We supposed to be doing this together, right? So, yeah, don't don't let it just be me. It's almost taking me 10 hours, 8.5 hours to, you know what I mean, to do 26 miles. By next summer, I'm telling you, we setting the bar. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't setting the bar higher. No, I ain't gonna lie. I ain't setting the bar higher. I'm happy with my 8 hours. Chase is setting the bar higher. Chase like, Dad, we gotta cut our time. Yeah, we gotta cut our time, Dad. We gotta get down to 8-9 minutes. We gotta try to do 7-8 minutes. I'm like, no, we don't. We really don't. We don't have to get like, we don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? But I can respect his energy. You know, I can respect his energy, and I feel like I could try to do 12 minutes. I feel like by next year I can put together 11, 12 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like average. You know what I'm saying? Like I can get like 8 or 9 minutes right now on like a mile. Like I could wake up, you know, charge up, drink me a little water, go to the bathroom, and just go outside and book it and get me a good 8-9 minute mile in. But a marathon is not about what you do the first mile or the first 5 or the first 10 miles. It's what you do on the back 10. Right? You've been waiting at the finish line. Yo. No, listen, let's get into some of this information because we didn't have so much we didn't talk about so much. And we only 90 minutes in. Right? We done Sebi, Victor, Madness over there. We got homeboy on MedCram, Diary of a CEO, looking crazy out there. See, that's the other thing. He brings a lot of intelligent people onto his platform and has seemingly intelligent conversations with these people. But then you have a moment like this and people realize that you might not be as intelligent. You know what I'm saying? Like, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff.
There's a new deal at Tim Hortons. Get a
All right, hold on. Let's get this thing together.
This is the Bible of the electrogenic cell. It's not just the best book ever written on the subject, it's the only book ever written on this subject. Produces the brought to you by supporters of Christ. Inky prayer number 2. We give thanks and praise to the Most High God for the divine spark that set our cells into perpetual motion. We give thanks for the magnetism of the Most Holy, the magnetism that repels and attracts the ferry boats of light 60,000 miles every 60 seconds throughout our vessels and caves. We give thanks for the ability to drink clean water every 60 minutes, flooding the river of life. We give thanks that sugar has not covered our ferries and turned them into stone. We give thanks that darkness has not covered the riverbanks with calcium and turned them into stone. We give thanks that anger and fear have not turned our almonds bitter, turning our heart to stone. We give thanks for smooth sailing upstream through the valley of death, through the superior vena cava into the right atrium. We give thanks for smooth sailing around the heart through the corona crown, joining the vortex in the right atrium. We give thanks for the perfect black solar repeater that induces the primary electromagnetic wave, opening the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim closes. We give thanks to the ray wave, reflecting on the semi-lunar valves, opening a pathway to the vineyard. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the lunar gate to the vineyard closes. We give thanks to the Most High God that provides the light and our breath, and the light in our breath. We give thanks for the fine olfactory system that makes our grapes ripe with light. We give thanks for the Jed pillar that provides us with a stable fleet of ferry boats to dock in our vineyard. We give thanks for smooth sailing through the pulmonary vein into the storm of the left atrium. We give thanks for the perfect black solar repeater that induces the primary electromagnetic wave, opening the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the mouth of the Kodesh HaKodeshim closes. We give thanks to the ray wave, reflecting on the semi-lunar valves, opening a pathway into the holy royal arch of the Wa scepter. We give thanks for the mechanical wave produced when the lunar gate into the holy royal arch of the Wa scepter closes. We give thanks for the magnetism of the most holy, the magnetism that repels and attracts the ferry boats of light 60,000 miles every 60 seconds throughout our vessels and our caves. Amen.
All right. So a little bit late with the prayer. We've been getting a little sloppy lately, but we back on, right? Shout out to Tika who always keeps us on track. Okay. So we got, man, I didn't get that book. Man, how Amazon? Okay, Amazon might be tripping on that book. All right, my Christ Covenant book. Right. But I want to jump into the teacher's edition. Right. I want to jump into the teacher's edition because that's where we really get deeper into cardiac melanocytes, having to do calculus. Right. So we get into the calculus conversation, but we also get a little bit deeper into the jogging conversation, right? The jogging conversation, because we want that to, we want to increase everybody's, efficiency, right? We want to increase everybody's efficiency by moving the goalposts a little bit, right? So for the last X amount of years, we've been pressing folks to do the 10,000 steps. We've been pressing folks to walk, right? 5, 10, 15 minutes after each meal, right? We want to step that up though. We want to get folks to start jogging. Now, the speed at which you jogging is totally up to your ankles, your knees, and your hips. The speed at which you get out there and start jogging is totally up to your ankles, your knees, and your hips. And we want to give an honorable mention to whatever sneakers that you have on. All right, we want to give an honorable mention to them. But please spend some time, right? Let me say this. Growing up in the generation of children that literally created the billion-dollar sneaker industry. Like, that was us. I'm almost 50. I'm 48. That was us. We did that. Right? We did that. And I don't mean did that from a corporate standpoint. I mean, we were the children that they sold the sneaker concept to, whether it was the dope boys in the neighborhood or the corporate execs sitting planning with scheming and plotting with MJ, right? We were the target consumers, right? I never properly bought a pair of sneakers before. Not until very recently. So I'm just saying this because I know that somebody needs to hear it, right? I never properly bought a pair of sneakers before. When I was really little, probably my mom or my dad would make sure that they fit. They put their thumb in the front to press the toe to see where your toe is. You know what I'm saying? But ignorance. I'm pointing the finger at me, right? So I know somebody else watching ignorant, right? We buying the sneaker. We try it on to see how our jeans fall onto it. You know what I'm saying? Look in the mirror, see how our jeans fall onto it. Does it make us look like our feet is big? How this going to look with my outfit, right? Until and we willing to pay whatever we got. $80, $100, $200, $3,000, $5,000. We ready to pay for these. And almost nobody is like looking up the technology that went into the sole of the shoe. Trying on the shoe, trying on the sneaker, like jumping up and like jogging. Unless you're an athlete. If you're an athlete, you might have been, like you're in a different. But outside of the athletes, we're not trained to buy sneakers based on actual quality, just perceived quality, right? Because that's where the profit margin is. The more money a shoe company invest in the actual shoe, the less profit they, generally are able to make, because the sneaker has to fit into a price category. When you go to the stores now, you see $59 to $89 is a certain type of sneaker. The ones that you or your children probably want are $119.99 to like $169.99, right in that pocket. And then just above that, you've got $189 to like $249. That's where the collector's edition, the ones that you don't even really want to wear if you buy them, like that. So there's price categories where the sneakers go into these categories, you know what I'm saying? And it's not based on what they're going to do for your joints, your tendons, your ligaments, how they're going to translate shock through your collagen, So I'm saying all that to say it is important that you choose, you know, a decent pair of, now let me show you what I'm working with. Let me show you. Shake it, man. Show me what you're working with. Let me show you what I'm working with real quick. All right. So this is what we got. This is what we got to do the 26 miles in. Pretty much, I just did the 26 in these and nothing much else. They did good. They did good. They had the crazy online reviews and they absorbed shock really well, right? They had the crazy online reviews. They absorb shock really well, right? So I can't much complain in that regard, but Vapomax just feel more comfortable for me. So not mad at that purchase. Not mad at the air crater, moon crater, whatever they call. Not mad that I got the vegan sneaker to support the earth community and all that. But these joints right here, totally different. Totally different. Both of them are pretty good, though. Both of them are pretty good. But the Vapomax for jogging, for older folks, telling you. And HJ put me on to some other sneakers that called Hostro, something crazy with big thick soles. They kind of like that style with the big thick sole on the bottom. And I never really saw them before that day, but now I've been seeing people, you know, especially people that's doing walks and runs and stuff like that, wearing them. And those is $200. Those is $200. So I'm just saying, these is like 99, 129, right? If you're getting them for the feel, you can just go get whatever ones is on sale. Because they're usually going to have like a couple of different colors or whatever that just came out. And those going to be like 150 or 160 or whatever. Then they're going to have the old version. And those going to be like $89.99. If you just worried about your feet, not your outfit, then you get the ones that's $89. But yeah, figure it out. You know what I'm saying? But now that's what I'm on. If I go get a pair of sneakers, I'm jumping up and down in them. I'm jogging. You know, I'm getting me a little fake little jog inside the store. Inside the store, I'm putting both shoes on, and I'm getting ready to try these joints out. Absolutely, like full blown. Like my children was like, "Dad, I'm not sure you're supposed to do that you can't do that like that. Dad, are you sure you buying those?" I was like, "No, I'm not. That's why I'm getting ready to find out." right now. Yeah, I'm getting ready to do a little quick work in these joints right here in the store. Boom. Hoka. I'm getting ready to try these joints on right here in the store and run back and forth and see what they actually, what they actually do for my knees. And for you, it might be whatever you got going on. You know what I'm saying? And if you still in the invincible phase, right? If you watching, you listening, you 22, you 28, you 32, you still in the invincible phase, don't take that for granted. Extend your invincible phase by learning these habits now. Because I'm sure that I'm paying now for ignorance in my 20s and my teenage years. The ignorance of my parents that was handed down to me, because we're ignorant about a lot more when it comes to health than just fried chicken, scrambled eggs, and French toast, and like we're ignorant to a whole panorama of things that's way bigger than just our diet. So the realization that soul food kills the soul is like kindergarten. It's like kindergarten. You have to start there and then go like have the entire realization, looking at everything like, wait a minute. How we play sports, how we dressed, how we did this, the water, like just all of our habits were designed to put us in the box early, right? So we just got to review a bunch of stuff. Anyway, that being said, we moving, right? We moving, right? So let's look at some statistics here. All right, let's look at some statistics. Let's get to the whiteboard. Let me see. Can we get some space? Here we go. I feel like something ain't right in my background. I don't know. I guess we'll figure it out. Okay. All right. So we did 8.5 hours. Right. Let's get these. Let me try to get these down for you. Right. We did 8.5 hours. Right. These are the things that are shared. Right. 26.2 miles. And we did a little bit more than this, just to be sure, but we rounding it, we keeping it core, we're keeping it smooth. Right. All right, so these are the shared numbers. Right? Actually, let me change this a little bit. Because this is the only thing we probably shared when Chase and I went out. Right? Me as a 48-year-old, him as a 16-year-old. Me, 6'1", him 5'9", right? Me close to 200 pounds, him close to 150 pounds. Like everything was totally different outside of our travel, right? Outside of our travel. 30,676 seconds to be exact. This was closer to like 31 minutes, right? 26.2 miles. Now, my heart rate, father, son, Now, when you get the teacher's edition book, it got this whole breakdown in it, right? It is probably going to cover a lot more than we get through to tonight, but we're going to try to get some work in, right? For me, right? Oh, another shared statistic. I'm going to try to squeeze this right on in the middle here. We got enough room. That's a crazy number, 1919, right? That was our average time. That was our average time. So now for me, the average was 103 calories, 103.8 calories, right? For him, it was 87.1 calories. 87.1 calories, right? 87.1 calories. My heart rate was a 98. His was 107, right? His was 107. Total calories for me, and let's save space. Let's put that right here. 2,718. Total calories for him. What he did, let me see. 2,278. Right? So already you could see there's a big difference. My heartbeat was low. My heart rate was lower than his. His was faster than mine, right? You would think he's 16, smaller, lighter. It would be opposite. But typically, children's is a little bit faster than adults, right? So this is still healthy. Right? This is a little above average for, not a little above average. This is above average for somebody my age, right? Even though I'm not in the best shape, I'm still above average at this point. Now, when I ran, because I did hit a few spurts now. I did hit a few spurts where I stretched my legs out. My heart rate got up 130. You know, my little red warning signal was going off. When you got the heart rate thing on these watches or apps or whatever, it gives you a warning when your heart rate is going too high, right? When it's going too high. Well, potentially too high, right? But that's not why I stopped or slowed down. A, I wasn't fully equipped to run like that for 26 miles. That's just off the rip. B, more important than A, I wasn't equipped to run like that in the short distance. Yeah, there was certain little things that was like, you know, like you start just getting strange, sharp pains in certain places. You're like, what? Wait a minute. What parts? What is? Okay, hey, Chase, slow down, champ. I can't. Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, we're gonna have to. Matter of fact, I need a break. Usually, that's when I needed a break. That's when I do my update. Yeah, that's when I go live because I can't really go live fully jogging. So okay, slow down, Chase. We need to. Yeah, let's just live check in real quick. Then we slow it on down. Slow walking. Catch the watch. We'll get a breather. All right, turn it off. We get back into it. All right. All right. So these are some of the numbers, some of the statistics. Now, you know how we get busy. right? You know how we get busy. So you know what we doing? Electrogenesis, right? So for me, I was running on, right? That's the language, right? Just like you would discuss like an electronic that running on, right? I was running on 370 watts per second, right? 370 watts per second. All right. Chase 310 watts. Well, we just we don't gotta cram that in. We know 3 per second. Boom. Right? 310 watts per second, 370 watts per second for 8.5 hours. Right? This is where the ultimate health benefits comes in. This is where the ultimate health benefits comes in. This is the essence of endurance training that nobody has ever even ventured into discussing or looking into, because they don't even, this is ours. This is our thing. Electrogenesis. This is our thing. Right? There's a reason nobody's done it before us, because it was up to us to do it. Me and you. Me and you. Right? This is where the benefits comes in. Right? Taking your body's wattage up and then sustaining it for long periods of time. That's what endurance training is about. Right? When we go through the medicine book, right? If you don't have this book by now, just go play in traffic on the highway. Just like, just kidding, don't do that. Right? But go to Amazon, add this to your cart with all the other books that we talked about today. We talked about a lot of books, so you should have a healthy Amazon cart, right? But if you don't have the medicine book yet, right? Like you need to get this book to understand a lot of stuff we're discussing. In the very beginning of this book, right? In the very beginning of this book, we talk about urgent discovery, right? Mitochondria forms an electric power grid in your muscle cells fueled by oxygen, right? And then we go through the article, and then we spend the rest of the book almost elaborating on what that means, elaborating on what these new structures of mitochondria that have just been discovered in 2015. So the implications of this is super brand new. We talk about the implications of this for cancer and cancer research, and just we go everywhere, right? We go everywhere. This is how you change the geometry. This is how you take mitochondrial biogenesis to another level, right? Because we all want to have, forget your visceral fat, right? Forget your fat. If you focus on your mitochondria's fat, your fat will disappear, right? Because if you got a whole bunch of big, fat, slow mitochondria, these folks slow. They on the internet talking about, they on the internet now I just watched a page with some other guys stealing the drip. I could put another clip up there with another one of these big platforms stealing the drip. They're talking about intramyocellular lipids now. We've been talking about that since, I mean, maybe a couple of years before we did the American Healer documentary, right? That was one of the things that we brought out when we did the lecture up there, and the mayor cut the ribbon, all that, right? We were talking about how far ahead of his time Dr. Sebi was, right? Because he knew that there was some sort of gunk in the cell slowing down cellular respiration. Now, he may have just called it mucus for lack of a better term at the time, because there wasn't a term for it, right? Firsthand research. He could have named it whatever he wanted and stuck his flag in the ground and said, I'm here first. I discovered this, right? But here we are now, 50 years later, there's a term for it, right? So, but we've been talking about that in regard to one of the primary causes of diabetes and metabolic disease for a minute, right? So, but this is the game changer, right? Watts, wattage, joules, right? Wattage, joules, right? We have the joules. We have the joules, right? We have the joules. Let me give you the joules, right? For me, it was 11 million. $11,375,114 joules, right? For Chase, it was 9,553,523 joules, right? This is the electrical output. This is the electrical output that we sustained over 8.5 hours, right? Now, we have a lot more. We have a lot more data points, but I just want to do this comparison for you, right? I just want to do this comparison for you, right? Right? Let's see. Let's do it like this. With those numbers, right? A regular LED light bulb, right? An LED light bulb that requires 10 watts, right? With my 8.5 hour output, right? I could have powered a light bulb for 315 hours. Right? Chase could have powered the light bulb for 265 hours. Now, mind you, This is based on body size and not necessarily endurance, right? Because he could have continued far longer than I could have. Eventually his output would have far surpassed, but because we stopped at the same time, right? But this is a light bulb, right? This is a light bulb. I want you to understand what, you know what I'm saying? Like just giving you some practical things. Like if we change this to, right? A lot of you are at home right now. You on your laptop, right? You on your laptop. Your laptop requires way more power, right? Your laptop needs about 50 watts, right? About 50 watts. So I could have powered a laptop for 63 hours, right? Chase could have powered it for 53 hours, right? Your refrigerator, right? Your refrigerator, I want you to understand this is the same type of electricity. Your refrigerator, 150 watts. Your refrigerator needs 3 times as much juice as your laptop does, right? I could have powered your fridge for almost a whole day, right? Chase, almost a day, 17 hours, right? I just want you to just to get this. Here we go. One of them dudes just flew past my ear. He in here somewhere. Oh, I got a ladybug right there. It's looking like a little miniature insect zoo in here. I got a spider right there. Yeah, I got a Nancy right there. I got a ladybug right there. And then a lightning bug just flew by my ear. So I know we got the beetle in here somewhere. But that's because I was out there cleaning, I was out there weeding. Yeah, I had like 3 big garbage bags full of vines that grows up around the side of your house and covers the walls and all that. I like the vines, but I like my hydrangea more than I like the vines, and the vine was like smothering the hydrangea. So we can't have that. We can't have that. I got some burdock out there. The burdock handle itself. Burdock is a gangster. But the hydrangea needs help. Hey, listen. I appreciate the love however y'all give it. You know what I'm saying? However y'all give it. You know, I appreciate the cash apps, the super chats. You know what I'm saying? Everything. If somebody send me a Zelle, right? You could Zelle ministerinky@gmail. Send me a Zelle, you know, whatever. Right? Go to the website. Make sure y'all go. Oh my God, that's another conversation. When I tell you, The kitchen chemistry book is going to be like on steroids. The kitchen chemistry 2, the subtitle is Nephroceuticals. Yeah, the subtitle is Nephroceuticals. So it's already going to be crazy. Yeah. Yeah, the kitchen chemistry part 2 book is going to be crazy. Crazy. That's all I get. Crazy. Okay. All right, we do go into the codex. We do spend some time in the codex. Like I have some excerpts from the codex. We have some excerpts from the codex. Now, mind you, all of this stuff we're talking about is in the teacher's edition, right? So the book that you give to people is maybe 90 pages or 100 pages. Maybe a little bit smaller. It's a thin book, right? It's a thin book. The book you give to people. But the teacher's edition is chunky. The teacher's edition is chunky, right? The teacher's edition is chunky, right? So, hold on, let me see this here. Okay. All right, so we have this conversation here, right? And y'all know, at some point, I always take it back. At some point, I always take it back because I tell you, I've been having a lifelong love affair, infatuation, student-teacher relationship with or through the weighing of the heart ceremony, right? And so, right? Right? That's a terrible scale, heart, feather. Yeah. Terrible scale, right? Terrible heart and feather, right? But weighing in a heart ceremony, we have a section, right? So if you have the teacher's edition already, right? I know some of y'all have it. Feel free to open it right on up, right? I open up the chapter with a disclaimer, right? Pardon my repetition in advance is for memory, right? Pardon my repetition in advance, right? Trigonometry, right? Trigonometry. Remember, that was the second book. That book was preparing the way for us to get to the Legend of Wuxia book, right? So we started the year off. Remember, we start the year off, boom, the rough ash law, right? We start the year off, rough ash law. When that book hit, the ground shook. The rough ash law. What? What is he putting in? What? The ground shook. Right? We followed that up with trigonometry. And then from trigonometry and the rough ash law, I said, okay, we got enough. The Legend of Wuxia book. Mount Vesuvius explosion type, like, right? Then from there, we go through the workbooks. I don't know how many workbooks, maybe 20 workbooks, right? Maybe 20 workbooks. Then we go through, actually, I think I still owe y'all a couple of books. I still owe y'all a couple of Ebers Papyrus books. But we start going through the Ebers Papyrus, right? And we get to the Jed School and the Neferland, and we just go through the whole Way to the Heart ceremony, central feature, right? Central feature. Now, we start with the trigonometry book. Trigonometry is obviously the math of triangles, angles, waves, right? But right out the gate, when you look at the scale, right? The scale, right? If we just create a two-dimensional depiction, the scale right there, right? Two triangles, right? I'm just saying, low-hanging fruit, right? But it's not abstract math because it's a lever scale. So it's a system of levers. Obviously, this is a terrible drawing, right? But where we graduate within the framework of the scale to calculus is that the scale, like calculus, measures change. That's one of the things that you use a scale for, right? Particularly this type of scale, right? To measure change and to do real-time calculations, right? Measuring change, doing real-time calculations. This is important because the Teacher's Edition book goes along with the Ma'at book, right? If you don't have the Ma'at book, right? The Ma'at book was our book based on variables, right? Talking about variables, talking about the importance of understanding variables, probability, right? Variables and probability, because if you don't understand variables and probability, you can't understand health. Not in a medical sense, not in a practical sense, not in a personal trainer sense, like not in any type of sense. Because the whole idea of healthcare, whether it's exercise, diet, meditation, yoga, injections, pills, surgery, whatever it is, it's changing variables to manage probabilities, to manage outcomes, right? Same kind of functions you ascribe to trigonometry, right? Inputs and outputs, right? Calculus measures change, right? So in a hospital, calculus is used every single day, all day, around the clock. Why? Because they're taught in school that calculus is how your body runs. You're not taught this way, right? We're taught like MedCram, right? Because see, here's the thing. It's important for us to realize that all these things have one origin, right? The trigonometry and the calculus and the heartbeat, the heart circulating the blood, the cell, the woo-woo, all that got one origin point. All these data points have one origin. One origin. We can hypothesize all about the various ways that the information got to Kemet, right? Some folks saying aliens. The Kemetic people themselves just say that their ancestors from up the river taught them, you know, the sub-Saharan Africans. That's what the Kemetic people themselves say. Oh, no, we got it from our mothers and fathers up the river there. Yeah, that's what we got. Yeah. They taught us. Now we're going to teach you. It's kind of how it goes. This is what we're here for, to learn and teach, right? Not that deep, right? But, in order to say that Black folks didn't achieve much, we've had folks create stories about aliens and all kinds of other things to, right? When the idea that these folks are not actually Africans, the Egyptians are not African, when that ran out of its luster, they just went right to aliens. Oh, well, you know what? If the Egyptians wasn't white folks, then you know what? Maybe they wasn't folks at all. Maybe they just flew down here from Aldebaran or Sirius B. That's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. They're not people at all. You know how somebody just get angry and vindictive? Like if they can't have it, then you can't have it either. They just not gonna let. That's where we went with it. What are you doing? Don't you fly into my drink. You're a clumsy thing, ain't you? All right. So when we get to the heart, right, which is the most important place, right? The heart instantaneous rate is your derivative. The heart doesn't just beat, it accelerates and decelerates, right? This is important. The heart accelerating and decelerating, right? This is important. This is the master. This is life, and this is life or death. The heart's ability to go faster, the heart's ability to slow down, right? We take that for granted. That is probably the most complex biochemistry that there is. Heart speeding up, heart slowing down. Most complex feat in the human body that there is, because there are a zillion different things that has to go on to manage your heart's ability to safely speed up and then safely slow back down. At any point, your heart could speed up and explode. At any point, your heart could speed up and bust. At any point, your heart could speed up and not get enough blood to it, and you could fall out on the ground. At any point, your heart could slow down. Your heart could go into deceleration mode, and continue to decelerate and not stop until you can't breathe and you just let out your final breath, right? When you come into this world, you take your first solo breath, right? When you come into this world, you take your first solo breath. That's when the doctors at the hospital know you good. You take that first breath by yourself, and you good. When the babies are too small, like preemies, like, oh, we got to put them on the breath machine and pump them up with ammonia and whatever, right? They might not be able to take their first breath. You might have a still, like, I don't even like to say the words, right? But your baby might not make it, right? When you transition, you let out your final expiration, right? You breathe out, but you don't breathe back in again, right? That's what will happen if your heart slows down, but it doesn't find its level. Think about the terms I'm using. Find its level, right? Now, folks that's Masons will know what that means, and folks that study aerodynamics and fluid dynamics, they'll also know what that means, right? Water finds its level, right? So you have a level. Your level is your resting heart rate, right? Your resting heart rate is more than just your resting heart rate, right? It's not just a steady beat. It's not just the steady drum beat in your chest, right? Your resting heart rate is your resting heart rate. Like when we talk about, that's why we got so many books. Because we got to build with you. We got to build you up. You know what I'm saying? We got to build you up. If you ain't been with us and you just jumped in, and you might be missing some stuff. You know what I'm saying? But your resting heart rate is the heart rate based on the condition your body is in to keep everything going. It's basically as slow as it could go while maintaining all your functions. So your ability to get oxygen to all of the tissues, organs, glands, nutrients, everything that factors in to your heart rate. Keeping your blood pH 7.365, that factors into your heart rate. Keeping your mind, right? Keeping your mind conscious, awake, like that factors into all of these things factors into your heart rate. Glycation level, triglyceride, this one, that one, muscle, how much muscle you're carrying versus how much fat you're carrying, right? All of these things play a different role in your heart rate. So your heart rate tells the whole story, right? The heart rate is your song, right? God is music, but your heartbeat is your song, right? That's your solo. That's your solo, that's your big solo. It's like you in a group, right? And everybody has a solo part in the song, right? In the universe, right? In the one verse, everybody has a solo. That's your heart. Your heart has all the info in there, right? So the healthier you are, right? Typically, the slower your heart will beat, right? The less healthy you are, the more encumbered, right? Blocked, right? The more problems your circulatory system has, right? Your heart has, the faster it's going to be, right? So, but everybody has a resting heart rate depending on what their condition is, right? And in order for you to do more, like when we talk about the blood flow to the muscles, going up 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 times the normal amount. Well, if the blood flow to your muscles has to increase, the work your heart does has to increase. The speed of the blood flowing through your body has to increase, right? All of those things has to increase, right? All of those things has to increase, right? So when that happens, there has to be real-time measurement, scale, measurement taking place of all of the biochemical features. All of the biochemical features. Now, mind you, if we take it and we dial in and we zoom it in, right? And we zoom it in and we talk about the heartbeat itself, right? And we zoom into the heartbeat and we go into the Christ complex, the Koras complex, right? The electromagnetic wave, the SA node, the AV node, right? And we zoom in even further, right? And we get to the cells that are actually depolarizing and repolarizing to produce this electric current, right? That creates your aliveness, right? We go to ions, right? And we see this current is being generated by a steady flow of ions in and out the cell, creating, juicing up the phospholipid membrane, creating a potential, right? Negative 70 millivolts, 120, 140 millivolts, back down, zzz, creates a current, right? Creates a current, opens the doors, closes the doors, right? Purkinje fibers, right? This stuff should be, right? Constantly creating that current. There's a high amount of reactive oxygen species that's created in this space, right? There's a high amount. Think about this. The heart has the largest magnetic field, the most electrical activity in the body. That's a high amount of reactive oxygen species that's generated. Free radicals, right? Free radicals. Any number of these free radicals have the ability to cause cardiac arrest, right? At the extreme, right? Cardiac arrest, your heart just stopped. The doctors say, we don't know cardiac arrest, we don't know how it happened. Electrical problem. Like when you take your car and you go to the mechanic and they put it on the machine and they be like, look, you got an electrical problem in there. We can't track that down. You just need to get a new car. Same thing with your heart. It's electrical problem. We don't know how to figure that out. What's going on in there? It's just an electrical problem. Cardiac arrest. There's nothing we can do about it. Right? Well, now we're learning. There is something. There is something. We can learn about that electrical system, right? Because there's a whole nother player in this game, right? There's a whole nother player in this game that's regulating this process, right? These are cardiac melanocytes, right? These are cardiac melanocytes, right? The throne of Osiris, right? The heart, the underworld, right? 12 gates, yeah. Cardiac melanocytes in there, right? And the cardiac melanocytes in there are in there to measure the change, to measure the patterns. This has to happen within the blink of an eye. measure the change, buffer all possible damage, buffer all possible reactive oxygen species, maintain all chemicals, and keep the rhythm. Keep the rhythm. And when your heart has to increase in speed, it increases, right, the rhythm. Like you would increase beats per minute in a studio on a beat, right? It increases the rhythm, increases the BPMs, but also creates a rhythm for the BPMs. So it keeps it quantized, right? The cardiac melanocytes quantize the heartbeat so that there's a rhythm, whether you're at 140 BPMs or whether you're at 65 or 93 or 77. They're maintaining the rhythm. They're maintaining the rhythm by maintaining the voltage. That's based on calculus. That's based on being able to measure patterns, and then create patterns. All right. Let's get to okay. This is your main, I ain't gonna say equation. This is how you're gonna see. This is how you're gonna see this thing written up. This is how you're gonna see this thing written up. Right? This is how you're gonna see this thing written up. D DT. Now, mind you, the cardiac melanocytes don't have they don't have formulas. Right? These are formulas for us. Right? These are formulas for us. All right? Right? These are formulas for us. So you would stick in your variable or whatever you're talking about right in the middle in there. Right? So you would nuzzle in for this conversation, right? For this conversation, you would nuzzle in. Now, I'm not showing you this so you like, oh, we got to learn calculus now so we could keep up with Inky. No, because Inky don't teach calculus or study. Like this ain't, I want you to understand how your body works, right? So you got to understand that this is what's actually going on. Like this comes from your body. Your body does this like effortlessly and flawlessly. If your cardiac melanocytes make a mistake in calculus, and calculus is like one of the most difficult things to learn in school, right? Think about that. But if your cardiac melanocytes make one mistake in calculus, you're dead. One mistake, you're dead, right? That's why when they first found out about cardiac melanocytes, what they said was they're responsible for arrhythmias, right? The bad guys, right? They kind of kept the bad publicity, you know what I'm saying? But in that, if you read any of those papers, because people just read the headlines or they just read the abstract. If you read a bunch of those papers, you would see that the reason why they catch the flack for causing arrhythmias is because they're in charge of the rhythm of the heart itself. And when they fail, when they get a math problem wrong, you clock out. Right? You clock out. Now, the problem is we've gone the last 2,000 years pretending they don't exist. Right? Pretend they're in comedic science, modern science, new phenomena, cardiac melanocytes. This population of melanocyte-like cells in the heart is just amazing, and just new amazing discovery we never knew. Just like we listened to Homeboy say, we never knew about the heart or blood circulation till the 1600s. It's just amazing that syncs up with the Charles Darwin. I keep telling you, these folks still teaching Darwinism. Yeah, we didn't know anything about cells or heart or blood circulation to the 1600s. That's why we have a course called Comedic Naturopathy. That's why we have a course called Comedic Naturopathy, right? Because if we don't teach it, it won't get taught, right? So, HR, heart rate, this is what it looks like. This is what hospitals use. This is what, this is standard. This is standard. Like if they have a patient, they want to know, right? If they have a patient, they come in, like, I guess they call them your charts maybe, right? That'll be a part of your charts. Not just your heart rate though. They're going to want to know what certain standards, depending on what you're in the hospital for, but they're going to want to know what changes has happened overnight, right? Overnight. And then if it's something really crazy, they'll want to know larger changes, right? Even though with the larger changes, they're going to use how dare they though, right? Isn't that crazy? They use the triangle is everywhere. Meanwhile, we didn't know anything till the 1600s. It's amazing how, the Africans didn't know anything. Not to mention, the triangle is called the delta. The triangle is called the delta. The delta is what the whole, the plateau of Kemet, the lush greens, the vegetation, everything is the delta. Yeah, well, all of the inlet to the water and all that's. Anyway. So, okay. So we get a little heavy. We get a little heavy, right? We get a little heavy in the book. We get a little deep. But like I said, this is in the teacher's edition. This is not in the book that you would pass to somebody that never heard of Dr. Inky or whatever before. Like that's not what we would do. Right? Because we want to get to, maybe that's enough. Maybe we'll go in more. Let me see, tomorrow. What time is it? 10:30.
This is why you have to go to Amazon and get the book, Rich Abs, Poor Abs, now.